Welcome back to A Drop of Happy with me, your host, Wanda Toby, where we focus on carefree, stress well, light and lively living while reviewing and discussing all things entertainment and wellness. Uh, Once again, this is the podcast companion to the blog litevi.com, LITEVI.com. And the name of the show is A Drop of Happy, where most streaming available on most streaming platforms. What are we going to talk about? What's on the show today? Of course, we're going to do a drop of some entertainment with Beyonce, Halle Bailey, Meg Thee Stallion, Nick Cannon, Jeff Bezos, Nicki Minaj, and more. Um, we're going to have a journal prompt that is on theme because I actually do have a theme for this episode. We are also going to talk about Ironheart because it is over. Season 1 is finito, and I will say it's gonna have some spoilers, but you should have seen it by now. You should have watched it by now. Okay, so if you haven't watched it, pause, go and watch it, and come on back so we can discuss. Okay. And then we are going to talk, like I said, I have a theme. We're going to talk about self-sabotage. Okay. And then we're going to, of course, talk about what's dropping, what's happening in movies, music, television, maybe books, if I have time, because y'all know, I try to do one and done. I try to do one and done. And I really, lately, I have not, since I've changed the format, I've been having a difficult time keeping it under an hour. But we're just going to try not to talk so much. How about that? How about that? So let's hop in to the entertainment shenanigans. Beyonce. Y'all, she's on tour and she almost died. So she's in the States. I want to say it was Houston, and she was performing 16 carriages, and she was in a vehicle. You know, she liked to fly through the air, and she was tilting. She was tilting, and she afterwards she did post. I think it was on social media, on probably on all of them. It was really cute, featuring Paul Wall's song "Tilting." She kind of cracked a joke at herself, but we weren't laughing. Okay, that ish wasn't funny. Anyway, uh, so that was on her flying was on pause, but I am glad that she resumed. I mean, am I glad she resumed? Hold on, pause. Because that's dangerous. But I did go see her show, uh, her Atlanta show on night 3, and it was a very good show for those of you who like Beyonce, like her performance. It was a fabulous show. Um, her hubby came out and performed. It was great, and she flew not once but twice, actually 3 times. There was a horseshoe situation. She flew on that like twice, and then there was the golden horse, and she gave a wonderful show. It was a lot of fun, so I enjoyed it. I've been seeing clips and things like that. Blue Ivy did a great job. It was fab. uh on the note of Beyonce, recently, I think this past week, there was news that she got some stuff stolen out of somebody's car, her dancer's car, her manager's car, I don't know, somebody's car. They stole some music, they stole they stole a bunch of stuff. I think they got some of the stuff back, and people were like, "Well, where's the music? Where's the music? Somebody getting fired. That's all I know. Somebody is about to lose their job over that situation." Anyway, uh, let's talk about booze and new booze really, really quick. here's the thing. There's a lot of hate going on about people because people like to hate. I don't know. But Halle Bailey, who has, I think we've kind of talked about it before because, of course we're going to talk about it, who has been in the news not because of her acting or what have you, because she broke up with her baby daddy. She broke up with DDG, and it's been up and down turmoil. But she was spotted on vacation with a new boo, Scott Bridgeway, who's a producer, pretty successful, produced several tracks for Kendrick Lamar and other folks. And people are speculating, is this a step up? Listen, if she's happy and it's a healthy relationship, no matter what the person does, it's a step up, in my opinion. So there is that. Also, in relationship news, Meg Thee Stallion and Klay Thompson, who is a basketball player, 4-time champion, great shooter, so I've read. I don't watch sports as much as I used to, but there's been speculation for a couple of weeks because she had posted a video. She had posted a picture, and he was like, her by the pool, and he was like way in the background. And these internet sleuths, they gonna find out. They gonna zoom. They gonna find out. So of course, there was speculation. And then they did the IG official post. And I believe he posted a picture with her. They were holding hands and yada, yada, yada. Again, lots of hate because, people love to hate. But I am here for the romance and love and the whatever. It's always good when it's new. The new is always good when it's new until it's not new. And then you see if it's something real and if it's, again, speculate. We don't know what what they're looking for. She might be just looking to continue to have fun. Who knows? But anyway, they look happy together. And I always, listen, I told y'all I'm a romantic at heart, gots to be with all the romance novels that I read and the sappy, silly romance things that I watch. I love it. So I, of course, am rooting for them and hope it works out. No hate here on that regards. But there's about to be some hate right now. It's about, not for Meg. Y'all. So Mr. Jeff Bezos, Mr. Amazon, got married. And here's the thing. How do you say tacky? How do you say, what did you spend $50 million for? This is what I want to know. So they had a wedding, a Venice wedding, $50 million to disturb, whatever you want to call these people's lives, because they did not want it. There was some protests. It was basically a hot mess. From what I saw, from what I've read, it was tacky as all get out. Really, you could have saved $50 million if you were just gonna go tacky. You could have saved $50 million. You could have had a $5,000 tacky. But anyway, Leonardo DiCaprio was hiding his face with his cap, like way down, black cap. And here's the thing, it was an egregious display of waste, and pollution and whatever, because I don't know how many personal jets flew up into that piece, right? There is a meme from Twilight where where the older vampires are like looking down in disdain, right? It's this picture, like this meme, and I think it is like a video too, And that's how I imagine like the people with old money were looking upon this. That is how I that is just how I imagine it. Like with complete disdain and just like, yeah, but what are they gonna say? Because the man's like a billionaire, so they just gonna have to suck it up. But and all the tacky people were there, child. All the tacky people were there. You could just Google it and see that it was interesting, and just could have saved a good hell 45 million at this point. 50 million. Okay, let me focus. All right. Speaking of lots or I don't know, abundance, Nick Cannon and his many children. So he was on a podcast or a show or something like that. And I believe it was a podcast. This was in the last couple weeks, what have you, where they asked him to name all 12 of his kids, and he could not. I think he missed like one or two. Are you not embarrassed? What? Okay. We are not going to belabor that point. We're not going to stress on that. But what we are going to talk about is that he is going to do a podcast, a new nightly podcast on what, may you ask? Giving relationship advice. Sir, who you gonna have some experts on? You gonna have some qualified folks on the show with you? It's just gonna be you? Please explain. Femme comprendre. Make me understand. It's just going to be you? Giving what? Hey, okay. Ooh, child. So of course, the streets talking, the internet, the digital streets, because everybody's like me. Why are you gonna do that? But guess what? He's gonna do it because he can. He's gonna do it because he's gonna have people listening. That's why he's gonna do it, and he's gonna get paid. So that is exactly why he's gonna do it. Because I bet you he already has an audience. So now they're just probably the same people gonna switch on over to listen to him give wonderful relationship advice. And while we're at relationship advice, yeah, Nelly and Ashanti, they have a show. We Belong Together. It's on Peacock. And sometimes you don't need a show. Sometimes not everybody needs to put your business out there. Because I too, like everybody else, was thinking, oh my gosh, they're so cute. They're back together. They're blah, 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 blah. And then he did that whole performance. Y'all, if you know, you know. And I was like, I'm not watching the show. Not going to do it. But I do, give some views to some creators that I like that are talking about the show. And I have caught some clips. And the conclusion is, why y'all do that to yourself? Why? It's a lot of thoughts. What is the problem? The problem is he comes off as super selfish. It comes off as, why did you get back together with this person? It really is one of those where less is more, and you could have just not done this show and really expose the critter crawlies underbelly of the relationship. We could have done without. But I believe the season finale has happened. So if you are interested, because I'm not watching. If not, you can catch the clips on other creators and give some other creators some of the views instead of them. And really, I mean him. I question if she even wanted to do the show from some of the clips that I've seen, because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to me. But hey, and I know I was just like, I was rooting for them. I was rooting for them so hard. I was like, oh, and then all that happened. And then fine, you like it, I love it at one point, but uh, he he kind of treats her like doo doo on a stick. So that's all. That's it. That's it. Moving on. Kanye West is still off the rails. He's still off the rails. That's all I'm saying about that. But recently, most recently, he had a concert in Shanghai, and he was late, and they said he was lip syncing, and they were chanting for their money back. It was just whack. And here, when somebody is spiraling, right, they are not going to function at their peak professionally, because that spiraling affects multiple areas of their lives, which it has been. So this concert, the concert goers were not pleased. They were not pleased. They were not entertained. They wanted their money back. They wanted their money back. And speaking of off the rails, this is a very good segue. This is a very good segue into what we're going to talk about, because Nicki Minaj, she goes into these states, these peaks of being off the rail. So this is just this week. She's calling out Jay-Z for money that he owes her. Tweeting, accent, whatever the heck they call it now, just going off. And then she gets into it with SZA, the singer, and just going off there. And honestly, so I said it's Nicki Minaj versus Jay-Z, Nicki Minaj versus SZA, Nicki Minaj versus herself, because what is going on? My sister, top fella, what is happening? She, which really brings me into nice segue, nice moving on into our topic at hand. So I picked a nice little quote because I feel like we should know better in what we are looking for in life, but sometimes we don't. So the quote is, "The poor long for riches, the rich long for heaven, but the wise long for a state of tranquility." I know that's right. Some peace, like some peace, some tranquility is just the best word, because I've said this before. I like a good dose of drama. Yes, I do. But that's why I watch TV. That's why I read books. That's why I indulge in a little celebrity gossip, because it's not my drama. I'm trying to live that tranquil life that, it's not my drama. I don't want drama for me. I don't want drama for my close friends. We could read about it and be entertained by it, but no. Like, but sometimes it's hard. Let's be. Sometimes we make poor decisions. Sometimes we self-sabotage. Sometimes and we're going to talk about what self-sabotaging is, what self-sabotaging looks like, because some behaviors you do are self-sabotaging and you may not think it is. You may not realize that it is. But we should be working towards uh, trying to have that tranquil state of tranquility. The poor long for riches. Well, I'm poor, so I got a long for riches too, which is problematic. But the poor long for riches, the rich long for heaven, but the wise long for a state of tranquility. So at this point, I'm a little po with a dose of tranquility, because if I had a little more funds, maybe I'd be a little more tranquil. like anyway, so that leads me into the prompt, right? Because we are going to talk about sabotage and self-sabotage. So have you ever self-sabotaged? Do you know why? Have you ever practiced self sabotage? Have you ever did yourself in? Do you know why? What was a lesson that you learned? Uh, or maybe you didn't learn a lesson and you're just like, I need to think on it. I still need to learn a lesson. Um, is it something you still do actually? Do you still practice? I won't say practice because it's not like we purposely do it, but is it something that you know you still do? Or are you even aware? These are your prompts. Think about that. And if you're not sure, we are going to go over what self-sabotaging is. But before we do, because I I think when I think about self-sabotage and Ironheart part three, no, not three, 4, 5, and 6, I think about that girl, y'all. I think about Riri. So we are gonna talk about it. I'm gonna try to do it as spoiler free as I can, but I can't promise anything. Okay, so we took a little break from episode 3, and at the end of episode 3, okay, I'm lying. It's gonna be spoiler filled, so I don't know what to tell y'all. At the end of episode 3, she accidentally killed that man. She didn't help him, and Parker basically found out the tape kind of revealed to him that's what happened, right? So episode 4 picks up um picks up kind of where that ended, right? And Riri is acting real funny with the group, and he is acting real funny. He's kind of like Parker's kind of like leaving her out because he already knows he's gonna get somebody else because he already knows he's gonna get rid of her. He's gonna get rid of her. Um, this part I thought was really this part I really really liked. So Riri's mom is like, listen, we need some help. We need something. So she goes to her friend Madeline, who we find out is a former student of Carmitage, and her daughter Zelma is who kind of looks like Zelda. Not Zelda. Velma. Zelma kind of looks like Velma from Scooby Doo. I I don't I, I don't know. She just gave me that vibe. I know, very very random, but whatever. And it's not because the names rhyme. Okay, she just gives me that vibe. But anyway, she's actually a really powerful witch or whatever you want to call it. So because Riri got the cloak, so she had her like look into the cloak, and then the cloak made them freak out because like, oh, it's really dark energy, yada yada yada. You know, and they're like, you got to go. So at one point, Riri starts freaking out. Then Xavier, who's Natalie's brother, comes, and this is important, gets mad because it's like, yo, why did you recreate Natalie in this AI? And then Natalie goes away, so but takes the suit, or did she not take the suit? Oh, they okay. She goes away in the suit, and then they come because Parker's like, okay, no, she has to die. So Parker reveals to the team that Riri killed his cousin, and so they grab the suit. This whole thing ensues when they're trying to where they're trying to kill her. They're trying to kill Riri. Somewhere along the way, Parker broke Zeke out of jail, and Zeke is gonna become like in the comics, he's a villain with um, robotic body parts. So this is where they put in the robotic body parts, or they help him because he's mad. He's really pissed at Riri. She went to visit him in jail, and he's just like, bump you because you bump you. So anyway, Long story short, um, Riri is trying to like rebuild the suit. They try to kill her. This is before they try to kill her. Then Zeke says he kills her, but he doesn't kill her. She's very like sad and despondent. Then the mom comes and gives her a pep talk, and the team rallies together so that they can build the suit. They build a new suit out of an old car that had some sentimental value because it was her stepdad's. Um, Meanwhile, come to find out, come to find out, Parker has daddy issues. All of this is because Parker has daddy issues. Okay? Yeah. Come to find out, well, listen, well, his daddy is not a very nice person. His daddy is mean. His daddy kind of treats him like doo doo. So, uh, Parker is doing all this to really, really get revenge because he's not really doing it for money because he got. I'm not saying he has money. His dad has money, like buku, 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 loads of money. Um, Guess he's doing it to prove a point, to prove a point to his father. So he finally goes and tries to do the same thing. Well, he does. He successfully basically manhandles his father into handing over the company. But by this point, he's losing his mind because of the cape, and he's making all types of horrible decisions and whatnot. But at the end, this this part. So she defeats, they win, defeats, she's alive, she doesn't die, blah blah blah. Like go watch. Y'all know what happens. But at the end, so throughout we find out that the cape, the guy who owns the cape, played by Sacha Baron Cohen, is he's just like, oh, he's worse than what's that, the shoot, what is the ghost, the figure that Doctor Strange fought, um that guy, he's worse than that guy, where Doctor Strange had him in the time loop. I don't remember the guy's name, but he's worse than that guy. His name is Mephisto, and is worse than that guy. So what happens is he like makes this deal. It's like dealing with the devil. Dormammu. That's the dude's name, Dormammu. Okay. So it's like making a deal with the devil. And so he's just like, oh, you can have what you want, and I'm gonna give you this cloak, so you can get what you want. Well, it's not all that it's cracked up to be, obviously, right? So when it's all said and done, guess who he makes a deal with? Guess who he makes a deal with? Riri. Here's the thing. So the connection, it's a big circle, right? Because truthfully, he takes advantage of people who are in a sad emotional state, and he exploits that. So all this stuff that Riri's doing, like they were just like, why are you doing all this? I knew from the beginning she was doing it because of what happened with her stepdad and Natalie, right? Because she wanted to be able to save people from having to go that, because she was helpless, she couldn't do anything, and she wished 911 would have came sooner, blah blah blah. But ultimately she was not healed, not even remotely healed from that trauma, just like Parker was in a state from the clearer it seems abuse that he got from his dad, because his dad was not a nice person. So same thing. So it's like full circle. And then there's like a mid-credit scene where Parker goes to visit Zelma, and for whatever reason was like, I need some big magic. Ugh. So that gets me a little excited for season 2. and I really hope there's a season two because I actually enjoyed this. The only thing, and I thought I was going to see some character growth with Riri, but being that they're having her go in this direction, there to me there really wasn't any character growth. There wasn't really a coming of age. It's just like she's still in the process of coming of age. Like she still has to go through these things, and which case in point, by her accepting this deal with this guy, like because she lost, and the reason part of the reason is because she lost Natalie. And if you were in a healed or working towards healing, you wouldn't need Natalie. Not the AI, but the holograph, the friendship, the basically you brought her back to life in a sense. You wouldn't need that. So you wouldn't have made that deal. So not only is she dealing with the trauma, the emotional trauma of watching her best friend and her father die and not having dealt with it, but she's also has a level of immaturity, level of selfishness. Um, it's kind of like built or under the guise of her being selfless, but ultimately it's not, because ultimately she's trying to fill or heal a condition because of the trauma. I'm not saying she's like a bad person. She's just growing still. And I guess we'll see that. Hopefully we'll see that growth in season two. So I appreciate now why we're still seeing her struggle. We're still seeing her make poor choices, obviously. And I think it was really good to see and compare against Parker's trajectory, because when you met the father and you understood, like, oh, he came from money, but it was a poor abusive situation, and he had his own healing to deal with, but he never had the opportunity because he had some bad influences, and then comes in this cloak. So it's the same with her. She had this traumatizing thing, and now comes in this cloak, and she makes a poor decision. She's been making poor decisions, because let me tell you, when she was in Black Panther, the second one, I didn't like her then either, the character. But the actress is doing a bang up job. She's doing a bang up job in conveying what she's supposed to portray with this character, because I think we're supposed to be on the fence about her, so that we have this moment of growth and this moment of being a better person. So, and it's a fine line, because you want to create a character that's likable enough that people will still want to watch, but at the same time you want to create some conflict, right? Some conflict as to why we're keeping this story going. Why am I going to stay interested? What's the difficulty? What are the burdens and the trials that I have to overcome? But I have to kind of like the character enough to want to see them overcome it. So truthfully, from Black Panther, I wasn't feeling her. And I watched because Ryan Coogler, obviously, duh. And I wanted to see how it was going to unfold and things like that. And I can't say that I like her, but I understand. Who I really like is Natalie. Even though she can be a little, the AI can be a little spoiled or a little selfish, just a little bit. I like her. I like Natalie, the AI version of Natalie, and uh, it's almost like she's kind of a little bit in like an infant, almost, right? She needs that validation, she needs that support, she needs that love, because yeah, she's got Natalie's memories and all that, but she's still like a new creation and still trying to figure things out, still trying to figure out where she fits in to everything. So that's kind of where, I say that little selfishness, but really she's like a child, right? And she's trying to be helpful, and she's trying to, but I really enjoyed her character. Actually, I think I've said it before. The whole cast has a really, really, really good chemistry, really good ensemble together. And everybody that surrounds Riri hopefully will make for a good foundation for her to have a really good character development arc. But I definitely saw some self-sabotaging behavior and activities from her, even if it's like unknowingly. Good case in point is when she was at college, right? Because what was it, the poor decision making that had her get herself expelled and all that, that is a form of self-sabotage, even if you don't know it. But then it kind of led her down on this path. So there's two articles that I will be posting that I'll have. One is just as from Psychology Today, and it's just basic self-sabotage, and kind of just quickly tells you. But I'm not so crazy about this article, but it's just like a really good basic article to get you started. The one that we're probably going to talk about, which again, I have linked it, is Why Do We Self-Sabotage? The Psychology Behind Destructive Habits. This is from insightpsychology.org. And it was published earlier this year. And it kind of talks about, okay, what is self-sabotage, right? And you will not think some of these things, you'd be like, oh, this is self-sabotage. Well, yes, it is. So self-sabotage refers to behaviors, thoughts, or actions that interfere with your goals, relationships, or overall well-being. It's like setting up a roadblock on your own path to success. While self-sabotage can be conscious or unconscious, its effects are always detrimental. And here's why. There's a list of some self-sabotaging behaviors. Procrastination. What? Procrastination, delaying tasks that matter. Oh, I feel attacked. Perfectionism, setting unrealistic standards that lead to burnout or paralysis. Again, I feel attacked. Negative self-talk, criticizing yourself excessively. All right, on this one, I've been working on it, but sometimes it sneaks in and you don't even realize it. But negative self-talk, because that leads to decisions and actions that work against your goals and your best interests. Substance abuse, turning to alcohol, drugs, or food for comfort. Addiction notwithstanding, because again, what does engaging in substance abuse? It can lead you down the path of addiction, but it also causes you not to deal with your emotions on a truthful playing field, on a truthful level. It causes you to mask your emotions, which again does not contribute to your goals and your overall well-being. And this one, again, I feel attacked. Avoidance, dodging opportunities due to fear of failure or rejection. We're not gonna talk about that. We're not gonna talk about me. How about that? How about that? But recognizing these patterns is the first step towards change. Like, I always say, you got to know it. You got to make an assessment. You have to recognize these behaviors. But did y'all even know that these behaviors were part of self-sabotaging? Because we might think making actual, like, outright decisions, right, is self-sabotaging, like doing B when you know you're supposed to do A. But these are things we do all the time. So it's reframing how we think about these and being like, okay, you're procrastinating, you're sabotaging yourself. You're so all these things that you don't normally think of as self-sabotage are actually that. So then it goes on to talk about the psychology behind self-sabotage, like why do we do what we do? Why do we engage in behaviors that are harmful? Um, Specifically, it says the answers lie in a complex interplay of emotions, belief, and past experiences. Below are some of the primary psychological factors that contribute to self-sabotage. So, of course, the first one they have, and I don't know if this is in order or they're just kind of listing it, but fear of failure, which kind of is a little self-explanatory, but the behaviors that contribute to that, of course, or the behaviors that are a result of that are procrastination, avoidance. So by sabotaging themselves, they create a convenient excuse for failure because, I didn't try. So you didn't try your best. You didn't put your best foot forward. So when you fail, you're just like, oh, it's almost like you're giving yourself a pass. Fear of success. Well, what happens if I do succeed? That's intimidating too. That's like, whoa, because if you succeed, more money, more problems. Well, not necessarily has to be money, right? But more responsibility, more expectations, and things like that. So it can be scary to succeed. It can be just as scary to succeed as it is to fail. Imposter syndrome. They list number 3 as imposter syndrome. Yeah, imposter syndrome, it kind of can sneak up on you too, because that's basically thinking, oh, I don't belong in this space, like I'm a fraud. But you got there. And I think it's that negative self-talk that contributes to that, and being like you're not being worthy, and they gonna find out you faking it. You faking it till you make it. But they not, because they faking it till they make it too. Low self-esteem. Low self-esteem is an insidious little culprit. Low self-esteem, ooh. Low self-esteem is the common denominator in a lot of things, y'all. So there is like a healthy and unhealthy self-confidence, like delusions of grandeur and all that stuff. But we do have to have a level of self-worth, self-confidence to be able to push ourselves, because that low self-esteem, that low self-esteem makes me mad, because it's sneaky, and there you go. You're in a cycle of sabotage because you don't feel like you're worthy. Of course, trauma and negative conditioning. So, it's so funny because let's go back to Ironheart. It seems like Parker had the negative conditioning, and Riri had the trauma. So perfect example of how those two things can have you at the same spot of self-sabotage. So like past experiences, during childhood, they shape our beliefs. For instance, if you were criticized or punished for making mistakes growing up, you might have developed a fear of taking risks. Trauma can also create subconscious patterns of self-sabotage as a coping mechanism. Okay, so then there's a few others. Well, no, there's just 2 more. Cognitive dissonance. Do y'all know what cognitive dissonance is? Cognitive dissonance occurs when your actions conflict with your belief. And as you just like, whoa, like you immediately reject, because what? A wall goes up immediately. For example, if you value health but often indulge in junk food, this internal inconsistency can lead to guilt and further sabotage. Resolving dissonance requires aligning your actions with your values. And if you've listened to me before, I have discussed the importance of knowing your values, knowing who you are. Like, it is super, super, super important. And I feel like it goes along with helping you with self-confidence. I'm helping you with the low self-esteem, because knowing your values, knowing who you are, allows you the opportunity to affirm in those things. But if you don't, then you're just kind of like floating. You're just kind of floating. And then number 7, they have listed is comfort in familiarity. Ooh, this is so good. This is all things that has been discussed before, but you know my belief, repetition, there's nothing wrong with repetition, because eventually something will stick. So yeah, we've heard this before. A comfort is not a place of growth. It's just not. It's just not. It's just a place of comfort. And it's okay every once in a while, but you cannot sit and lull in that. Humans are creatures of habit. Even when a situation is unhealthy or unproductive, it can feel familiar and safe. Breaking away from self-sabotaging pattern requires disrupting this comfort zone. And that, my friends, can be challenging. So then, okay, so then it talks about common forms of self-sabotage and their triggers. This is why I really, really like this particular article, because it digs in. It digs in. So of course, I'm gonna link it so you can read it more in depthly than I am, or just read it on your own, or just have it as a resource to reference back, because it's really good. And you could also think about it when you are journaling, or mentally journaling when you're working on your prompt. So self-sabotage manifests in various ways, often tied to specific triggers. And here are some of the common forms, which is some of the things that is talked about before, we've mentioned before, what self-sabotage looks like, but also what are the triggers. So procrastination, right? A trigger would be overwhelming tasks, fear of failure, or perfectionism. You all know what procrastination is. Perfectionism, unrealistic standards. Okay, so that's the fear of criticism. You spend weeks obsessing over minor details. Negative self-talk. This is a result. The trigger is the low self-esteem or past criticism. Substance abuse, trigger is stress, unresolved trauma, or emotional pain. Avoidance, again, fear of rejection. Okay, so then it goes into, well, how can you break free from self-sabotage? Some practical approaches. We have talked about, like, the baseline to finding solutions is to doing an assessment, right? Identify, in this case, they specifically say identifying your patterns. So the first step is to recognize when and how you sabotage yourself. Oh, keep a journal, keep track of your thoughts and feelings. Ask yourself, what are my triggers? So it's like, okay, I need to do this assessment. I need to do the self-sabotage assessment. What does that look like? How do I feel before or after doing? Challenge negative beliefs. Like, just don't let them rumble. Um challenge yourself, right? If the belief is I am not good enough, practice affirmations, or look into why you're thinking that. Some of this may require some professional assistance. I don't know what y'all got going on. May require some professional assistance is all I'm saying. And some of it may just require some honest reflection. Again, honest reflection, because as much as we lie to other people, we be lying to ourselves as well. Set realistic goals. This is number 3. Unrealistic expectations can lead to frustration and self-sabotage. Sometimes setting an unrealistic expectation is you self-sabotaging, because it's gonna, like, jack up your morale. That's why you do SMART goals, which we've talked about before. Practice self-compassion. this is super important because sometimes we be too hard on ourselves, speaking from experience. So give ourselves grace. Replace destructive habits with constructive ones. So identify healthier alternatives to self-sabotage behaviors. For example, instead of procrastinating, use the technique to stay focused. Replace negative self-talk with daily gratitude journaling. So here's the thing. It's work. Work, 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 work. It's work. Like, but what is it? It's taking you outside of your comfort zone, because if it wasn't hard, if it wasn't work, then what would be the point? But all of this is work, is being conscious, being mindful. That's what it is. Embrace discomfort. No, not nobody want to embrace discomfort. Jeez. Change is uncomfortable but necessary for growth. Embrace the challenges that come with breaking self-sabotage patterns and remind yourself of the rewards on the other side. Then it talks about the role in therapy and self-sabotage. I've taught, listen, you might not be able to do it on your own, and that is okay. Like that is just fine. Then the article goes into some final thoughts. Empower yourself to break free. Self-sabotage is a complex but conquerable challenge. By understanding its psychological roots and implementing practical strategies, you can break free from destructive habits and create a life aligned with your values and goals. But here's the thing, you got to know what your values and goals are. So there is a starting point, right? Like, what do you want? What do you want out of life? What do you want out of yourself? Who are you? And then, okay, you got to do a self-sabotage assessment. What are my triggers? How do I address things? How do they make me feel? All that good stuff. Okay. Again, this is a great article. Is it all that you are going to need? Maybe, maybe not. Follow up, but it's a great place to start. At any rate, it's a great place to start to understand what self-sabotage is. Again, I am going to link this other article. We're not going to go over it, but please take some time to review it. But it does kind of cover the same topics as well. And then, food for thought is going back to the prompt as far as, thinking about self-sabotage. How have you done it? Maybe take this opportunity to engage in a self-assessment. I might put together a self-sabotage self-assessment, maybe like a quick little ditty, if you're so interested in kind of figuring that out. So all right, that is the article review, the entertainment review. But let's talk about, got a few minutes, got just enough time to kind of talk about what's coming out, what's dropping. Well, I'm gonna tell you, in movies, this past week, Superman came out. I haven't been to the movie. Okay, I did. No, I'm lying, because I went to see Ballerina, and I don't think I did a review about that one because I've been outside. Okay, I went to Chicago, and then I went to the Beyonce concert. So I've been trying to enjoy a little something, and then come back to drama in the household. But hey, what else? That's living, right? But I say all that because I haven't had a chance to go to the movies. I haven't had a chance to write the review for Ballerina. What I did want to see, Superman just came out, but I did want to see Jurassic World Rebuild. The F1 movie, that's the movie with Brad Pitt and homeboy Damson. That's like something I feel like I could watch at home. I just didn't. I want to see it, but I'm good, not in the theater. Funny, don't laugh. I think I've mentioned this before. I so want to see How to Train Your Dragon because my kids used to watch it all the time. and I'm already hooked. So Superman came out. It's a week. It came out over the weekend, and it actually did really really well in the box office. And I think for DC, it's like what maybe broke a record. Like I think it's the highest grossing for DC in the first weekend. Jurassic World is holding strong at number two. Grossed over 232 million. The F1 movie, it actually did pretty well. It's doing pretty well. I mean, I think. Who am I? I don't know. But for that movie to be at 136 million for it being out for 3 weeks, How to Train Your Dragon is rounding it at number four. Elio, number five. I don't know. I think it's not doing as well as they would have liked. Uh, and 28 days later, for a horror movie, I think it's doing pretty well. Sorry, 28 years later. So there's a 28 days, which I've seen, really liked. 28 weeks, I don't recall seeing that because I think that's around the time where I stopped watching scary movies. But I might watch it because I do want to see 28 years later because I saw the first one, so now I need to see them. But that's six. Lilo and Stitch, the live action is seven, doing very well, or it was. Mission Impossible at eight, Megan at nine, and Materialist. I have no idea what that's about or who's in it, but that's at number 10, but no idea. What's coming out this weekend if you want to have some entertainment fun where the movies are concerned? I Know What You Did Last Summer. That's coming out this weekend. Smurfs, Eddington, have no idea what that is about. I don't even remember that. And then the following weekend, Fantastic Four is finally dropping. And I gotta say, I don't know, I'm not that excited about it from the trailers that I've seen. But that's just me. Um that's I feel like that's all that's worth mentioning. I mean there are some other things, but maybe I haven't seen the previews yet. I gotta go. Maybe I'll go watch them. But those are coming out. But so in the next 2 weeks, Fantastic Four, I Know What You Did Last Summer, uh, and the Smurfs. Now I'm going to talk about books real quick because I have been running out of time and not had a chance to cover. So one of my, besides New York Times, right, bestsellers. So we'll talk about that. But one of my go-to is AALBC.com, African American Literature Book Club.com. I've been rocking with that site for years to kind of keep up and see what's going on and see what's coming out, particularly with Black authors. So their bestseller, Harlem Rhapsody, is number one, by Victoria Christopher Murray. I love her. I've read a lot of her books. The latest that I read though was The Personal Librarian. But she's had another one that she came out uh, with that author where she co-authored. But this one is just her, and it's numero uno. Number three is Something in the Water by Phyllis R. Dixon. No, that's number two. Sorry. Number four, Voices of the Harlem Renaissance, Elaine Locke. That's number three. Why Can I Not Count? 1, 2, 3. Four is Dream Count by Chimamanda Adichie, which is the poet. She's the poet. Yeah, most people might know her from she recited. Beyonce used her poem in Renaissance. Like it was huge controversy, as a matter of fact. But she is phenomenal. Okay, phenomenal. 5, Killen's Review of Art and Letters. And then 6, I was just going to stop at 5, but I'm a recitative by Toni Morrison, a story by Toni Morrison. I'm pretty sure I said that wrong. And for some reason, I haven't heard of this. And come for me. That's probably my bad, and I need to maybe add it to my TBR.
on the New York Times bestseller, because I'm running out of time. I'm going over my time, which, whoa, whoa, whoa. Combined print and ebooks for fiction. This is Rose in Chains is number 1 by Julie Soto. The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. The Woman in Suite 11 by Ruth Ware. Okay, yeah. Oh, let me tell you. So The Body Keeps Score. How is the I have this book, and did I read it? I want to say I did, but I need to again. That's number 2, The Body Keeps Score. Listen, that thing falls out and it comes right back in. On Her Game, about, I guess it's about Caitlin Clark. And The Anxious Generation. This is on my TBR. It's number 5 on the nonfiction. This is on my TBR as well, but I have not. I have not had the opportunity to read it, but it is definitely on my TBR. Music wise, I'm kind of excited. Giveon, Beloved. This is his sophomore album. It's out. Released I think this week sometime. Listen, Travis Scott and Jack Boys 2. I don't know who that is. I'm excited about Giveon, and I'm excited about Little Sims. She's had an album out earlier in June. It's called Lotus, and I wasn't aware, so I have some albums to check out. Burna Boy is dropping an album coming up, so I liked his second album. It wasn't bad. I didn't listen to it as much as I thought I would. So, but I saw him in concert, and he puts on a good performance. I will say that he puts on it was very enjoyable. Clips, Let God Sort 'Em Out. That's dropping this week as well, and yeah. And Justin Bieber dropped an album actually, and a lot of people are saying it's really good. So that was dropped this week. It is called Swag. So there's one song that's making the rounds on social media, and people have said it's a good album. Haven't listened to it, but that's what I heard. I was gonna do see what's top 5 on the billboards, but I'm already over time. We don't got time for that. I do want to say thank you for listening. Remember to like, share, subscribe. It's the website is lightevi.com, LITEVI.com, and it's a drop of happy on all of your major streaming platforms. A Drop of Happy with me, Wanda Toby, and at Light V on most social media if you are so inclined. But most of all, like, share, subscribe. Also on the YouTube. So remember to live light, stress well, and come on back.